And put the spotlight on GalaxEye Space. They successfully closed a first round of the Series A fundraise. And we've got Suyash Singh, who is the co-founder and CEO, now joining in. So tell us a little bit more about these newly acquired funds. What will they be used for? I understand that you're really looking at the Drishti mission. Tell us more about that.
Sure. I think this fundraise marks the Series A fundraise of GalaxEye. We as a space tech startup, we are building an Earth observation satellite that can literally see through clouds and can do all night, all weather imaging, as and when required. So, this fundraise will really help us to put the first satellite into the orbit after we have demonstrated the proof of concept using drones and other things. Interestingly, this fundraise has also seen participation from lead investors such as Mela Ventures, Special Invest, and also from a drone company which is pretty known in the industry called IdeaForge.
And you've also tied up with companies like IdeaForge for drones and some of the other industry players for satellite launches. Tell us more about the tie-ups.
Yeah, I think majorly, like I said, we have done a proof of concept with, on a drone system, pretty much on an aerial system such as HAPS as well. Uh, Largely, the IdeaForge relationship is towards taking the product to the market on a drone-based or an aerial-based solution. While we are building it for space, it will take some time to go to space, but it will be a very similar product offering that's going to go on a drone as well as into space.
And given that the space technology sector has secured close to $126 million in funding just last year, that as well has grown year on year. Give us a sense as to what you're looking at when it comes to the space tech sector for funding.
I think, we have a very unique position in the entire space industry, global space industry, right? Given the kind of laurels that ISRO brought in earlier, right? We've done Chandrayaan-3 national space very soon. I think all of these macro drivers are pushing us as a space, as a bigger part of the space economy. And I feel all of these funding investment that is being attracted by the companies will be put to a use wherein, we have capabilities to put satellites into the orbit. We will have capabilities to innovate around sensors on applications such as Earth observation, communications, navigations, and much more beyond it as well. So, comprehensively, we are a very large geography and we have our own needs. To fulfill those needs and add a digitization layer to various functions of ministries and also on the commercial sectors, space will be a very critical and a very important, layer of innovation in the entire startup ecosystem.
And a lot of these Indian companies and startups are really charting big hiring plans. They're looking to accelerate expansion. There's a funding boom. There have been government policies that have enabled this. Give us your view on how the sector is doing.
I think government has been very positive. If we can start from national geospatial policy, then national space policy, multiple guidelines have been issued towards, nitty-gritties and other things. So I feel government wants to position India as a large part of the global space economy, and by 2030-ish, and which is also a vision document by InSpace if you go and read. I think the policies are very proactive and they have been able to hear the voices of industry associations, the industries as well, aligning to and tailoring a little bit to our special needs as well. Without the government extended support, it would have taken much more longer than where space is today and where space will reach in the next 3 years. So I think that's very accelerating and very motivating to get into such a space where government is extending its support. I think Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister also mentioned in his speech yesterday that space is very important as a sector for the country, and I truly believe in the same as well.
And what's your long-term view on how you plan to grow the business? Can you shed light on your financials?
I think, any deep tech company, especially a space tech, deep tech startup, would initially won't see a similar pattern such as, a typical SaaS startup or any other startups wherein you can build a small software kind of technology offering, but most of your effort is acquiring customers and marketing stuff. Here we have a little bit of a gestation period of building the product and getting it to really work. So in the beginning, we might not see space companies kind of gauging those kind of revenues in the beginning, but it'll be a hockey stick growth, right? Once assets are in space, when the technology is proven, nothing like it, and nothing stops you to really monetize all of those things in the longer run. So I think if you take an 8 year or a 9 year period, typically first 3 to 4 years, you won't see a lot of revenues coming to such company, but 5th year onwards, it'll be a very massive growth.
And I believe there's also a 1,000 crore space tech development fund that has been announced. How will this aid growth within the space?
No, I think it's certainly not a lot, given the kind of space, the number of space startups that exist in the country right now. But it does tell you that, there's an intent by the government itself to grow this sector exponentially. So hence I welcome that step massively. I think it will be it'll be good if they start a pre-seed or a seed fund with that money, or they kind of invest in the fund of funds, and kind of start to deploy the money into space startups. 1,000 crores, I think it's just a beginning. It's also to give confidence to other investors to start looking at this sector more, in the growth stages and later as well. So it's more confidence building rather than to say that it solves all capital problems. It doesn't, but it does shows the intent and shows the macro drivers that will drive space economy in this country in the mid to long term future.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.